video is going to cover rotoscoping. We're going to talk about it more in class, but obviously we're going to cover Dear Basketball that just won the Oscar.
You gave a 6-year-old boy his Laker dream. And we both know.
And as you look through, you can see how they're drawn right over the original frames, actually, in order to get the action so clear and crisp. So we'll watch it more in class. Some other examples here. Which was drawn over original frames of video. So what we're going to do is we're going to shoot those frames. You can shoot them on your phone, you can shoot them in class, and then we're going to go into Adobe Animate, go to File and New. We're going to do an ActionScript 3 file, hit OK. Once this pops up in your timeline here for layer 1, you're going to double click and call it video. That was down here in the layer name, just call it video. And in here, on that first frame, we're going to go to File, Import video. And from that moment, we're going to go to embed the H.264 video to timeline, and then we will browse to find it. Now, I happen to have this one inside one of my folders, just to use as an example, and I'm going to hit open, and then I'm going to hit next. When this goes up, I'm not going to include audio. You do not need audio on this. And then we are going to finish it. By the way, if you do have audio from yours that you do really like and want to keep, then make sure that this is checked. But I'm not going to check it for now because I'm not going to keep the audio from mine. Everybody's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to hit finish. Now once it hits finish, you're going to notice that it comes up huge. We're going to then take the transform tool, click on it, hold shift, resize. In my case, I have to rotate it also, so I'm going to rotate it, resize it while holding shift, and kind of pull it into that space, maybe a little bit bigger. Okay, that looks good. So you notice that this particular animation that we took the video of goes from frame 1 to frame 115. So what we want to do now is double click right here in the beginning of that layer, right here where it says video. Where it says transparent, I'm going to bring it down to 50 and hit OK. So it's a little bit lighter than the original. Then I'm going to lock that layer down. After that, we're going to create a brand new layer that sits on top. We're going to double click it, and that's where we're going to type in drawing. This is where you're going to do your drawing for this. So we're going to go to frame 1 at the very beginning. We're going to zoom in, take your zoom tool, or do spacebar in the command key, click and drag, either way. Then you're going to use your paintbrush here, your brush tool, hit B on your keyboard to get to it. Your brush color, I would start with a black. And then here at the bottom, you could do different size and shape brushes. I'm going to do smoothing at about a 65 or so. You can choose whatever you'd like for that. You can kind of mess with it. For the size, you can do 1. I'm going to leave it at 1, but you can vary yours depending on your illustration. And then on this first frame, now you're going to begin to draw. Now by accident here I chose gray. I'm going to go back here, make sure I chose black. Okay, so you continue to draw. Now it's up to you how much detail you get, but you really want the outline for sure. Now you notice that I had kept my smoothing at 65, so it's kind of bending and twisting my line a little bit as soon as I let go each time. So it's up to you how you want to do that. I'm going to continue down. Remember, if you mess up, you can always undo, or you could take the eraser tool and you could fix a spot and then go back in with the brush and just kind of clean up whatever you missed. It's okay if it has this kind of painterly drawing look where the lines aren't absolutely perfect. That is okay for this project. Alright, I'm going to throw in a little bit of that. Then in the face, this is a little blurry, so it's a little hard for me to see, but I'm going to kind of make up what I see just a little. Okay. Good idea also as you're drawing here is to try to connect lines. You'll notice like here, for example, I did not connect this line. If you want to be able to color without much problem, try to connect your lines. If you can, it'll make life a little bit easier as we go to color later. So I zoom out, I continue down. So you want to get as much detail as you possibly can. After you do this one that you're starting with, the first frame on that drawing layer. All right, let's go a little bit faster here. Good. Now again, you can get as much detail as you want. I can get all the stripes in her shirt. For the purpose of the tutorial, I am not going to. And you can mess with that smooth tool like we said. Now once you have everything sort of drawn out for yourself, instead of us drawing every single, I think I added one extra finger there. Instead of drawing every single frame, what we're going to do in this one is jump to the third frame. So we're going to do every 2 frames, not every single frame, but every 2. This way, instead of drawing 24 frames per second, we'll be drawing 12 frames per second. Okay? So again, as much detail as you want. Try to take your time, put on some headphones, listen to music as you do this, whatever you have to do to make it less boring for you. I promise if you stick with it that the finished version will come out looking very, very nice. Okay, and we're going to continue like this, and you finish it all up. Now, once it's finished, we have to go, oops, that was a mistake. All right, real quick, I'm almost done. And you can put in the wrinkles, put in the lines, you can put in the designs in the pants or the shirts or however you want. So right now you can see I'm done with that first one. If I hide the original video layer with the little eyeball down here, you can see what it looks like all by itself. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go to, I'm going to zoom in so you can see the frames at the bottom here. I'm not going to go to the second frame, I'm actually going to go to the third frame. So every one that you draw will last for 2 frames. So I'm going to go to the third frame, right click, insert blank keyframe this time, and now I have to draw again. So, an example would be this one here. If I zoom out, oops, sorry. You can see here, this is what I drew in the first frame. I let it last for 2 frames. And then as I got to the third frame, I drew it again. So without the background on it, it looks like this. She's moving a little bit from 1 to the third frame. So you continue doing the same thing. Now, the only other option for you is, instead of right-clicking and inserting a blank keyframe, you can insert a keyframe. Now, what that's going to do is it's going to copy what you did on 1 and 2 over to 3. You see this one, and now 3 are exactly the same. So what you would have to do, though, because the pose itself has changed, see the footing has changed, you'd have to go back in here, select with one of the lasso tools or the eraser, get rid of a bunch of pieces, hit delete, and then redraw those pieces. But you'll notice a lot of things have changed. The position of the legs has changed in the third frame. The position of the arm has changed. So I think it's easier to actually, the only thing that really hasn't changed much is her hair and the top of her arm, but everything else has kind of changed. So it's up to you. You could do insert keyframe or insert blank keyframe and start from scratch. Once you've done all of them, I'm going to go back to this one that we started up here. An additional piece that I think is important to do, I'm going to turn everything on. So here, this, remember, is our video or animation, you know, or whatever you want to call it at the bottom. This was our drawing layer. Oops. Okay. And then, when we're ready to color, we're going to add one more layer. I'm going to add a layer to the top. I'm going to call it colors. And on this layer now, you'll notice it exists for all of the frames. What we're going to do is we're going to use the eyedropper tool. We're going to select color from this one. So in fact, what we could do is go back to the original video, unlock it, double click, change the transparency to 0, so it's back to its original bold colors. Again, lock it. We'll back up to the color layer this time, and on that first frame, we are going to create some, with the eyedropper tool, click like the yellow, for example. And with that yellow, just take a brush now and just make a little circle with that brush. All right, then go back to the eyedropper, grab the next piece, like the blue, let's say, take your brush, draw another circle. any colors you think you're going to use, you're going to make some circles. They don't have to be perfect looking circles. This is just for reference for color. So for example, here, this is what the hair is going to be. Okay, and again, try something else. How about the skin? And you could have different variations. Some could be the dark part of the skin, the light part of the skin. We could have a color here for the shoes. So you can have all those different variations and put them all in these little spots. This is what the shoes were like. Right? So this is just a kind of a start for you, maybe a one more color of like the lighter area of the... Okay, so these now will last the entire way. So why do you need them? Well, now you can lock that colors layer that it has like your little color circles on it. And then, we call them color swatches, by the way. And then here on your drawing, go to the first frame. You don't need to select it, so you can just take the black arrow and click away from it. You're going to take your paint bucket now. At the bottom of your paint bucket here where it says gap size, click on that, and you want it to close medium or large gaps just in case. This will automatically close a gap in case you left a little gap in it. So I'm going to put large gaps. And then here, you can choose your color. So you take your eyedropper tool. I'm going to hide the original video layer for a moment. So I'm on the drawing layer, I'm on the first frame. I'm going to take this color, take my paint bucket, and fill. See? This way you're assured that you're using the right colors every time, and it's filling those gaps. So you might use this other one maybe up here for that particular area. And then for the shirt, switch back, choose this, paint bucket. All right, maybe here we go a little bit darker. So as you work through this, you can always double click and choose darker colors or whatever color you need. Make a little, go back up to the colors layer, unlock it. You could always add more colors if you think you're going to be using other colors. Then lock it again, go back to your drawing layer. All right, and then continue to kind of fill in. This way you're going to be sure that you're using those same colors you know, over and over, and that you don't accidentally use the wrong color. Probably something missing there, but that's fine. You could always, at any time, you can add colors that weren't originally there. Different little red on the bottom of the shoes. Okay, oh, and skin. All right, so you kind of see what we're getting at here. That's what you want to be trying to do. Add as many colors as you'd like as you go. Make the circles for the colors so that you can reference them and go back to them at any time. And this is what we got so far. And this is just frame one. See how nice it looks. Now, a clearer video, this one was a blurry video, so you can see we didn't get much detail on her face, but we did get detail on a lot of other areas. And as we go now, if I hide the colors, this is what we got. It goes from this to this. So if you color all your frames, eventually you will have the animation, and then we can add layers underneath and make you interact with an environment. Make sure you go to File and Save as you're working, and when you're done, you're going to go to File, Export, Export Video, call me over for that portion, and we'll do it together.